If Top Gun had a wild night of passion with the Philadelphia experiment, you probably get this. Okay, everybody, today we're going all the way back to 1980. I can't believe it's been 42, almost 43 years since I've seen this. We are going to go back and look at The Final Countdown. Not that goofy song by Europe, the motion picture. But before we dig into this anymore, before we look at this gem any farther, once and again, and as always, to the trailer.
December the 6th, 1980, the nuclear-powered attack aircraft carrier USS Nimitz, with a crew of 5,000 men and a strike force of 90 aircraft, was on a routine mission in the Pacific when it encountered a storm unlike any ever recorded, and disappeared.
Antennas check out, but we're off the air.
Any word from my destroyers?
We aren't getting anything except some code transmissions in the 200-meter band. Otherwise, we're dead as a doornail.
Op, what's our radar picture?
Radar shows us clear, sir.
Can't you see that Russian trawler?
I have the signal officer on deck, but no visual sighting, sir.
All of us know that movement through time is possible. Einstein proved it. There are forces in the universe which we're only now just beginning to understand. I mean understand through science, not superstition. There are black holes in space, antimatter, curved space. Things that are as strange to us as electricity would have been to people in the Middle Ages. Or this ship in World War II.
What's happening here? Who are you people?
Are we at war? Is that what happened?
Splash the zeros. I say again, splash the zeros.
We've got an incredible opportunity here. We know where all the mistakes are going to be made for the next 40 years, and you've got the power to correct them.
I've got planes out there.
Those planes give us all a second chance. We're a bunch of damn fools if we don't take it.
Those men have enough knowledge among them to build the atom bomb. Reach the moon years before it should have happened.
Is that a terrifying prospect, Captain? Or a tempting one?
On December the 6th, 1980, the nuclear carrier USS Nimitz disappeared in the Pacific and reappeared December 6th, 1941, off the coast of Pearl Harbor. The final countdown is about to begin.
Okay, this motion picture was directed by Don Taylor. Okay, the name doesn't jump out at you. It is what it is. But he did a few things. He did Damien, The Omen 2. He did Tom Sawyer. He did Escape from the Planet of the Apes. But really, he's a TV guy. A lot of TV movies and TV shows. You know, Mannix, Mod Squad, The Big Valley, Cannon, The Rifleman, Dennis the Menace, the Lloyd Bridges show. So that's really where his butter was made. That's really where his bacon was burnt. What the hell does that even mean? It doesn't make a difference. Anyway, you get the idea. That's the ballpark he played in. Let's keep moving. Okay, playing Captain Yelland, Kirk Douglas. Come on, man. Really? Let's do it anyway. We're talking about he was in The Vikings. He was in Spartacus and Posse and The War Wagon and In Harm's Way and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and The Big Sky and The Villain and Saturn III and The Fury and Tough Guys and Lonely Are the Brave and The Arrangement. So, been around for a long time. Well, he just left us after living 4,000 years. Is what it is. Guy was a legend. Let's keep moving. Playing Lasky, Martin Sheen. Again, let's do this. We're talking Apocalypse Now. We're talking Badlands, and The Departed, and Little Girl That Lived Down the Lane, and Gandhi, and The Dead Zone, and Firestarter, and Wall Street, and The Believers, and Gettysburg, and Bobby, and Border Town, and of course he was on TV in The West Wing, and some other shows on top of that. So long career, big career, is what it was. Let's keep moving. Playing Laurel, Katharine Ross. That's right. Mrs. Sam Elliott herself. We're talking about she was in The Legacy, which I already reviewed. She was in The Graduate, and The Stepford Wives, and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and The Swarm, and The Betsy, and The Singing Nun, and Games, and a bunch of TV work also. So, long career, did a lot of shit, just the way it went. Playing Captain Owens, James Farentino. TV guy. Really a lot of TV stuff. We're talking about the TV show, the Blue Thunder TV show. We're talking about Mary and Dynasty and Police Story and Night Gallery and Marcus Welby, MD, and The Bold Ones and The Virginian and Julie and ER and Melrose Place and a whole bunch of TV movies. He's a TV guy. You're going to see his face. That's all you need to know. Playing Thurman, Ron O'Neal and Superfly self. Let's go. Like I just said, he was in Superfly. He was in Superfly TNT and Red Dawn and A Force of One, personal favorite of mine, and St. Helens and Death House and The Rage Within and TV, A Different World, The Equalizer, Hill Street Blues, Bring 'Em Back Alive. So, Ron O'Neal, if you were around at that point, you knew his face. Plain and simple. And playing Senator Chapman, the one and only Charles Durning. Talked about it a couple times before. We're going to talk about him again. Let's go. We're talking about he was in little motion pictures like Sisters, and The Sting, and The Hindenburg, and of course Dog Day Afternoon, and The Fury, and The Muppet Movie, and Starting Over, and Tootsie, and Tilt, and When a Stranger Calls, which I reviewed that too, and Sharky's Machine, and Two of a Kind, and Tough Guys, and Solar Babies. So the list goes on and on and on and on. I could just keep naming shit, but we'll be here all day. And there's some other faces in this thing too you might or might not remember. They popped up on TV, they popped up in some flicks. Let's take a look at this. We're talking about people like Soon-Tek, who was on MASH and Airwolf, and Lloyd Kaufman. Come on, Mr. Trauma himself. Are you fucking shitting me? And Victor Mohica, who was in Hill Street Blues, and Barnaby Jones, and Alvin Ing, The Doctors, Falcon Crest. Again, you're going to see a lot of things related to TV through the actors, to the director, and it's going to come back in the summation. I promise you that. Okay, everybody, we're going to do this in 90 seconds or less, so we can keep it short, keep it fast, keep it entertaining, keep it moving, so we can get to where we'd much rather be, the summation. And this story is kind of simplistic, actually, even though it's kind of a wild story, so I think I can do it in 90 seconds or less. Anyway, you have this aircraft carrier taken off out to sea. It's brand new. It is the Nimitz, and it's being controlled by and run by one Kirk Douglas. Well, on board, they happen to have themselves an observer who's there to make sure that the ship was built as well as it could be built, and that everything on board is being as efficiently run as can be run. He's basically an observer just to make sure that everybody's productivity is right. Office space, you know what I mean? What exactly do you hear? He's that kind of a guy. So, anyway, they go out to sea, and before you know it, they hit a giant storm. A storm that came out of nowhere, by the way. It wasn't on the charts, it wasn't on the maps, it just appeared. They go into this weird vortex, all kinds of crazy shit's taking place. They can't take it. The sound is blowing their ears out. Next thing you know, they all kind of come to, and the world is a little bit different. The sun is shining again. Everything seems okay, except that the radio signal they're getting doesn't make any sense. They're getting stuff that's way out of date. They're listening to boxing matches that took place 40 years prior. Everything seems a little bit weird. And you have this other side story about this senator and his assistant, and they're on a yacht and all this other kind of stuff. They're talking about furthering his career, blah, blah, blah. We'll get back to that later. Anyway, long story short, what we find out sooner or later through little pieces of surveillance and them going back to Pearl Harbor to see what was going on back home is that this ship has somehow been transported back to 1941, the very day before all hell's about to break loose at Pearl Harbor. Crazy shit. Well, a couple planes, a couple Japanese Zeros are zipping through, and they see that senator's boat, and they blow it out of the water, and they rescue these people, not the Japanese soldiers, but the people from the Nimitz, and they bring them back. So you have the added thing going on about, well, this senator and his assistant are here, but in the annals of history, they just disappeared. But now they're on this boat. Everybody's freaking out. Holy shit, we've been teleported through time, and it's going to be nuts. But here's the thing. They have a dilemma. Do they intervene? Do they stop the attack on Pearl Harbor? That's what they're planning on doing. But will that inevitably destroy the ripples of time? Maybe some of them won't be born. Who the hell knows? Captain's thinking, hey, we're an American vessel. Hey, we got to protect America, so it doesn't matter when, how, what time it is, what year it is, what decade it is. We got to get in there and fight. There's other people that question it. It's the way it goes. And you have some extra added drama by the fact that they capture a Japanese Zero pilot and bring him on board. Some things happen. And you have a senator who really doesn't like taking orders and kind of being slightly lied to on occasion. It is what it is. Anyway, you get the idea. That's the gist of it. Aircraft carrier sucked back in time. Is it going to stop the entire Japanese fleet with just a bunch of planes and all by itself? Can probably do it. Are they going to do it? I'm not going to tell you. Is it going to happen? I don't really want to let you know. But that's the gist of it. Let's get going with the summation. Okay, everybody. Does the final countdown work? Well, yes and no. I don't want to jump too much on this and say it's a great motion picture, but it has some good points. Anyway, let's get the big three out of the way. We're talking the directing. It is what it is. It's not terrible. It's not great. There's a lot of scenes in this motion picture that are going to make you think you're watching a TV movie. I'm just saying. I think some of the TV experience that the director had or specialized in really shows its face in this motion picture, and we'll get more into that in a moment. The writing's actually not that bad. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It is what it is. It's a sci-fi goofball flick. I mean, how much can you expect? But it gets the job done. TV quality. Acting. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of all over the place. I mean, you got a great bunch of actors. That's not even a question. But their delivery and the way that they're attacking the roles, Charles Durning, I think, really does great. He's being Charles Durning. Katharine Ross, okay. I mean, she only had so much to work with. Shockingly, Kirk Douglas is kind of, I don't know if he's miscast or what, but he just kind of seems strangely aloof through most of this. He's either very aloof, like, hey, well, what do we do? You know, this is kind of weird. Or he's being very authoritative, and there's almost no mixture in the middle. So the performance is kind of here and kind of there. So the acting, Anyway, back on track. What do I think about this motion picture? Does it work? It works enough for the kind of motion picture that it is. I mean, if you like things like the Philadelphia Experiment, you'll probably like this. If you liked Raise the Titanic, you'll probably like this. But if you're really looking for something that makes a whole lot of sense and is really a top-notch production from top to bottom, you're probably not going to find that here. I mean, the movie moves along at a rather quick pace. I mean, it's like an hour and 43 minutes, and it goes by fairly fast. And it is, strangely, for better or the worse, still entertaining. You walk away going, yeah, it's all right. I had fun for an hour and a half. It is what it is. But is it really great? That's where it gets a little bit fuzzy. Let's break it down. First off, a lot of the special effects in this thing are just basically horrid. I mean, they're TV quality. They look TV quality. And there's a lot of scenes where the movie is shot where you see like the Japanese pilots looking out of the planes and everything down. And you can blatantly tell. They just got a camera on a soundstage with this guy with, you know, this much of an airplane sticking his head out. It doesn't look real. It doesn't look passable. At one point, an F-14 Tomcat shoots down a Japanese Zero, and it just looks like somebody blew up a toy model. It's that kind of thing. Now, one of the things about motion pictures of that time is everybody liked seeing the big military hardware rolled out onto a screen. And almost like a sales pitch for the U.S. Navy, it works in that regard. You get to see this gigantic aircraft carrier. You get to see some of the coolest fighter jets of the day. Most of them are all gone now, but of the day, it's kind of like, yeah, watch them take off. Yeah, watch them land. This is cool. Look at that big-ass boat tearing through the water. And that kind of shit is awe-inspiring, and you like it no matter what. Let's face reality. You see it in Top Gun, you like it. You see it in a million other movies, you like it. It's always kind of cool to see the big toys come out and sail through the water. But other than that, again, the effects are kind of shitty. The soundtrack is completely inappropriate. Yes, it's big and it's bombastic and it's, ooh, look what we can do and look what we got going on. But it's not necessarily good or even appropriate in half the scenes. The acting is hit and miss, okay, and not. So you have that. The story that you're being led up to this big ending, like, yeah, here we go, this is going to happen, and then they kind of pull it away from you, so you don't really see anything. Nothing really happens. I mean, there's some great shots that they apparently got a couple of Volt Zeros and a couple of F-14s together and just did a couple maneuvers. Other than that, you would look at half this movie and think that it was just like a recruiting video for the Navy, and they just pulled shit out of it and put it into this. It has that kind of a feel. And the idea that the ending is what the ending is, which as the movie kind of comes to a close, you've already figured out what the ending is going to be. You know who's going to pull up in the car at the end. You know who the secret guy was that was given the... You get it. I don't want to say too much, but you'll get it. You'll be like, I know what's going to happen when he gets off this goddamn boat. I know who he's going to run into. I know he's going to go back and his boss that he's never seen in the car. I know who it's going to be. And it was. And somehow making that like the big ending, climactic ending compared to the one you were kind of expecting is kind of a letdown. And let's face it, the idea that this storm conveniently rolls in out of nowhere and sucks them back to fucking Pearl Harbor during the Pearl Harbor attack, you know, and then right before they're going to dive back in there, this thing just shows up again. So I guess in the end, what am I trying to say? Do I recommend this motion picture? Yes, it moves along at a cool pace. It's kind of dippily fun for what it is. Again, if you watch this, remember, think TV movie quality in your head. Literally, I mean, just think that. Just think, if you liked like The Day After from like the early 1980s or whatever the hell it was about the end of the world and, you know, nukes and bombs and shit, and you look at that and say, well, it's a decent production, then you will be completely at home with this. If you watch The Philadelphia Experiment and we're like, I was entertained, then you will like this. But if you're looking for a lot of logic, if you're looking for a bulletproof story, if you're looking for great acting, God knows if you're looking for really good special effects. And if you're looking for a decent soundtrack, you might want to sail on to other waters. Anyway, be good. Take care. Stay out of trouble. Be kind to a stranger. Be there for a friend. But most of all, never, and I mean never, take any bullshit from anybody. See y'all soon.